All right. Then today we are going to talk about data types. Okay. Data type is a kind of a very big topic in itself. Till now we have covered, right, case types, where we have to give the classes, we have to check which is organization, what is application layer, what is a division layer, what is a unit layer. Same thing happens with the data type. So whenever we create a data type, we have to check for the reusability. For example, employee records. Employee records should exist at the organization layer, because in our organization we can create multiple case type, so those employee details should be accessible in all those case types. So same way we have to do some logic part here, that which layer should go at which place. Now data type basically is a collection of single values, value list, and group of fields. Group of fields as in page property or the page list. Because till now, if you remember, we are creating properties directly in the case type, like first name, last name, right? They are not in the data type. For example, let me share. If I go to case type, go to insurance. If you see here, we are creating this data model inside the case type, right? But suppose if I'll create one more case type here, let's say this is insurance, I'll create one more. So that data model will be different. But customer name, address, these are kind of generic terms. It should be accessible on the organization layer. So it's a very bad practice to create properties directly on the cases which are reusable. Okay. So that's why Pega provided us a concept that is a data type. Data type we can create and reuse the fields. So when we start creating data type, there are a couple of things that we have to sort in mind first. First thing is, first we have to understand the business scenario. Suppose right now we are talking about the insurance. So with respect to insurance, we have to identify the data objects. For example, when we are dealing with insurance, what kind of data objects we can think of? We can think of a customer details. Yes, because definitely customer is going to sign up for that particular policy. Then we
Yes.
can think of a policy, because insurance is all about policies, right? The company is selling so many different kinds of policy, term insurance, health insurance, car insurance, auto insurance, all those stuff. So we will be capture everything in a policy detail data object. Similarly, we are creating one data object for the address, and I'm creating one more for the watch list. Watch list as in, suppose sometime there are fraud customers, right? So they want to use some fake documents, or they use some illegal attachments just to skip the credit check. So in insurance department, we have an audit team, the credit check team. They will find that, and then they will put that customer to the fraud watch list. So now this part we are clear. The data object basically a collection or a data object of attributes. Now attribute is nothing but the properties. If you see here, customer details, right? Customer detail as a whole is a data object which contain attributes. Attribute is nothing but properties like customer ID, full name, date of birth, phone number, email, and address. Now, address here is a page property which refers to a one more data type, that is address. Because data type we have to enforce the reusability. If you see here, I've mentioned one class, data address postal. So this class is packed in the out of the box tool, where we have these properties: street, zip code, and state. So why to create again same thing in our own data type? We can reuse it, right? So that's why we are linking this address property with this existing class, so that we can reuse these properties. Similarly, policy detail is a data object which have these four fields: policy number, issue date, payment mode, and policy type. Now, I have mentioned two things here. One is abstract and another one is a concrete. So whenever we create a class in Pega, we have two types, concrete class and an abstract class. So concrete class you can understand in this way: when the particular class has an instance or a data associated with it that needs to be saved in DB, then it is a concrete class. But if there is no data or no instances that needs to be saved into DB, then it is an abstract class. Okay. Now, when we're talking about the data type, we also need to talk about the source of records. Because sometime, if you say right now, in Pega application, we are capturing the customer details, full name, date of birth, even policy detail also. But in a real-time scenario, there might be chances that some of the details are coming from a third-party system, right? Maybe there is third-party vendor who is providing some functionality, or there are service provider for anything, like the claims department is completely, you know, running outside the organization. So in those cases, we can link our data type with the existing tables, external tables. So this is just an introduction part of the data type. So till now, what we understood, what is a data type, what is abstract class, which doesn't have instances, which doesn't need data to be persisted in the database, that is abstract class. Concrete, we have to save the data and we have to save the instances in the database, that is a concrete. Source of record is where actually the data is stored. If we are saving the data in Pega, then Pega is the source of record. If data is saved in external table, then external table is the source of record. It's just we have to point our data type to that right source so we can access the data. Then data type is created to enforce the reusability so that right attributes were created at the right layer so that within the organization structure, everyone can use it properly. For example, I have a possibility that I can create these address here itself, right? Because address is a part of a customer. But instead of creating these properties again here, I am using an existing data type or an existing class, that is a data address postal, where by default Pega giving me these properties: street, house number, zip code, and state. So this is just an introduction part. Now let's jump onto the Pega screen. Now, if you see, till now we haven't worked on this data type tab. We are only checking the case type. We are going through the classes in the App Explorer. We're expanding this leaf icon. We are creating properties and rules from here. Now, let's go to data type. So this is our data type explorer. If you see at the top, we have an icon where we have these options: show or hide existing data type, add data type, show case type, refresh, view external data entities, and view all test cases. So currently we are talking about the add data type. So I'll click on the add data type. So let's say now we are going to create customer details. So currently we are creating a customer details data object. Now you see it is giving us the class structure. So customer detail parent classes care, life care, app, and identifier classes customer details because this is the name. So I'll create it now. So for the first time, when we create a data type, this is the initial screen. Here you see we have couple of tabs. Data model tab is there where we can create the associated properties for this data type. Then we have the usage. Usage is more about the data pages. Data pages we will cover tomorrow. Then we have the source. Like if we are going to link it with external table or through a local source, then those configuration we are going to do here. Then the records. Once we configure the source as in, that means we are going to save the data, right? If it is a local source, then in Pega DB itself, we are going to save that record. So those records will be saved here. Now, views. Data views is completely same as a case type views, where you have to create a view, you have to select the fields, and then you can add it into the work screen. Let's go with the data model tab first. So as we have discussed here, right? Let me show you. Let's add field like this way, data object. Or wait, let me delete this. I'll show you a different way. I'll delete this data type. I'll create a data type for the watch list. Okay. At least I can show you source of record there. Fraud watch list. So watch list is in our application. Now let's suppose in watch list we are using fields like customer ID. Let's say audit check found out that there are particular customer IDs. Okay, this is text, which is seems fraud. Now fraud type. Okay, I'll make this as pick list. Let's say invalid document, fake profile, fake credit score. So let's talk about only these two fields. So we created a data type, or we can say a data object of name fraud watch list, which is of this particular class. And inside that data type, we are creating two attributes, or we can say two properties, that is customer ID and fraud type. Now, if you see here, this is empty as of now. No data page, no property reference, no undefined pages. So we'll come to this later. Let's come to the source now. Now, this data type has no source, but we are going to store all these fraud watch list in Pega application, because in Pega application only we are getting this data. So it's better to maintain this rather than in a external system. So I'll create a local source. So if you see one thing here, whenever we create a data type, what exactly we are doing? Basically, I make a note also here. Whenever we create a data type from the data type wizard, so it will create a concrete class. It's a default method that whenever you create a data type from here, I mean, when you go to this data type explorer, you add data type, then it will be of the concrete class. Next thing is that when we create a data type, it will define a database table at the backend. And now we are defining the columns of the table that needs to be visible, right? So we already created a table with that particular class. Now we are setting which column should be visible in the table. Now let's say customer ID is the primary key. So I'll select this primary key. I created two properties here. The rest of the properties are the common properties across any data type. These are the out of the box properties. So that's why you can't even see the delete icon, because you see system fields cannot be removed. Now, if I come down, you will see single list and savable data pages are generated. That means these are the out of the box rule which Pega is creating for us to use. We'll not discuss this today. Then in which data type or in which database we are creating our table with these two columns. So that is customer data for now. And I guess Pega is providing 2 or 3 data types, 3. Customer data, Pega data, and Pega data reporting. So tomorrow we'll also talk about the databases too. So for now, I'll only select customer data. So now I will sum. So this is a wizard basically, data type wizard, we call it as. It's a review mode where you can see customer ID is there, which is a primary key. Fraud type is there with text property. If you click on view detail, you can see one database table is created. This database table is mapped with this particular class. And these are some out of the box rule which is created during this wizard, like one report definition created, one data page is created, one list data page is created, and one savable data page is created. Let's close this. Now you see option is gone. But if I come to the records tab now, I can add data here. Now you see here, source as local data source. If I go to action, I can click on show database information. So database is customer data. Table mapping is this one, this particular class, and the table name is this one. Now let's add one record here. I'll add A1. Fraud type, let's keep it invalid doc. Now add record A2. This is a customer ID. This one, I'll change it to fake profile. So I'll add it to record. But suppose in future you want to add 10,000 records. So it will be very difficult, right? To manually go click on this icon and then add record. So to sort out this problem, Pega provides us this export and import feature. So if I export this one, allow, okay, just a second, it is opening. If you see, this data is here, but suppose here I want to add one more row. I'll add A-3. Same thing. Okay, I'll copy this one. That's it. So, okay. Let's keep it in 23. Okay. Now I'll try to import this same. Now when I clicked on import, if you see, we have a sources .csv and add or update. That means it will take the primary key. If the primary key in our existing record or in the CSV file exists, then it will update the record. If there is new field which primary key is not there in the table, then it will add a record. Apart from that, you can go for add only and delete also. But right now we only go for this. Choose file. Let's say which one I need to look for. What happened? Is it stuck? No. Recents. Upload. Oh, it's not a CSV. I think my system converted to a different format. 1 second. My system, I don't have the MS Office. Okay. Let me, I have this thing. I'm trying to add A3 again. Let's see if I can save as that. CSV, yes. Okay, let's try to input once again. Add or update, choose file, recents. Okay, yep. It is not taking through the out of the box tools. No worries, but it will go like when you import, a new row will be added here.
Okay.
Yes, through Excel. Okay. And now if you see we have these two records in our Pega internal database, right? That means even in my case also, when we are creating the form, right? At that moment also, I can use this data that if any person with the same customer ID tries to create the case, we should ignore it or we could reject it because it is an invalid, it is a fraud type as per the fraud type. Okay. If I talk about view, it is the same thing, but let's create it once. Go to fields. I added fraud type and customer ID. Customer ID and fraud type. Okay. So I need to refresh. Customer ID, fraud type. So I created a new view. So this view is added. Now, if you see, this view is a part of our data fraud watch list. But if you see our case type classes, care, life care, work. So that is a work class, work insurance. So both are different, right? One is a work class, another data class. So to create a link or to create a bridge between this, we have to create a page property. That also we'll see. I'll rename this view as fraud list view. Okay. So in this data type, we have covered that we created a concrete class. Okay. We created a concrete class and we added two attributes and we also created Pega as a source. That's why that particular option is now not coming because it is enabled. Once it is enabled, then you can add the records and we can see what is the table name that linked with this particular class. And we also created one view here. Now let's open this class, show in App Explorer. Then under sysadmin, you can see this class. Here you can see select class type, which is concrete. You can't change it once it is created. So in the class creation only, we can check. Either you can select abstract or you can select concrete. Now it is created in which version? 010101. This class does not belongs to any class group. Class group is again for reusability. You can make a class group. Then inside that group, if you have any class, those classes can reuse each other's property. Because we created customer ID as the key when we configured the table view. So customer ID key name is coming. Now, as per class inheritance, The parent class is care life care data. Care life care data. Now, if you see test connection, this is to check if this class is linked with the table or not. So I click on the test connection. If you see here, class this is mapped to the table this in customer data. That means it is mapped successfully. Okay. Now I'll close this one. I'll close this one too. So till now we have created one data type for fraud watch list, which is of concrete and where Pega is a source of record. Now let's create customer detail as an abstract class, because customer details we are not storing as of now in the database. It just when customer will enter the detail, then we will save it inside the data or inside the case. So I'll create a abstract data class. So let's say I'll go to create sysadmin, then class. So I'll create a class like care, life care, and customer. This time I'll make customer fields because customer details created. So I'm creating this inside the organization. If you see inside the life care, I'm creating, or I can create it at any level, even in that care dash customer fields. But I'm creating at care life care customer fields. Now create an open. So this is our new class rule form. If you see right now, I have both options, abstract and concrete, but I need to create an abstract class. Now create it in version that is 0101. So find by class name is pattern. This is care. So if required, I can change it to data dash. Data dash is our out of the box data layer. I'll save it. Okay. Wait, I need to put data also here. Otherwise, I won't be able to use it in the case. So I'll keep here like here data customer. Now this is inside the organization because inside here only we are creating a data layer of customer. Abstract version is 0101. This is fine, or else we can only go for care dash data. Let's see. Okay, this giving error. This record has two errors. Description value cannot be blank. Usage cannot be blank. Let's go to history and update these two values. Created to store customer attributes. So it will store customer attributes. So usage will also be same. Now I will save it. So my new class is created perfectly. Now, if I come to this data type, you see fraud watch list is there, but this thing is not coming because fraud watch list I have created through the data type wizard. Like I came to this data type and then configured the properties and sorts. So then it will come here. But this is I create manually. So it will not come. For this one, Pega provides this option, show or hide existing data types. I'll click on this one. These are the selected. I'll click on view all. Let's see which is ours. This one we created. Here data customer. I'll add. Okay. And see it is enabled now. I'll close this form. Click on this data type. So right now fields are not there. So let's add some of the fields. Full name, or we can say the customer ID. text, full name we can create, phone number, which is of type phone, email. Okay, then this only will create customer ID, full name, phone number, email. Address we are not creating for now. Address will create later. Now, usage is not there. Nothing is there. Source is not there. But this time you see one option. This abstract class will be changed to concrete. That means abstract class don't have source configuration. If you want to, you can, but it will change the class type to concrete again, which we don't want. So we are not creating any source. So there won't be any records also here. Okay. Let's create view. I'll go to fields, customer ID, full name, phone number, and email. I'll give this name as customer view. I'll save this thing now. Okay. So in this data type, we have created an abstract class which doesn't hold any records in the database. Then we created the attributes and we created a view. Now we will utilize this view and fraud watch list view in our case. Because suppose if we are creating anything at the organization level, but those will be reused at the application level only, right? So now let's go to the case type, insurance and data model. Here we have to link. Now all these things are not required. First name, full name at this level because I already created it at the data type. Even if I have 10 case types, still I don't have to create everything here. I can reuse it. I'll click add field. Now suppose this I'll name like cust details. I'll cross this thing. Now let's come to this part. User reference. This I mentioned that we will cover these four things later. User reference, case reference, data reference, and embedded reference. Let me minimize this. If you see here, user reference means it will reference the data from data admin operator ID class. Now, inside this class, Pega already provides us these properties like full name, date of birth, phone number, or I can directly show you. Let's go to App Explorer. Let's give the same class. Data admin operator ID. If you expand data model, if you expand properties, then let's open this whole tab. So these are the properties Pega provides us for using. Let's filter this property name with name. Okay. Report to username. For example, report to username, you can directly use this one. User identifier. Okay, this one is not there. User. Let me see other page. PY telephone is there. So for phone number, we can use this property. PY address is there, which we can use for address. So similarly, there are a lot of properties which we can directly use from this class. There was one with name also. I can try to find it from here. System pages, operator ID. This one, py username. Okay, it is not showing here. Anyways, but we can reuse those properties. So that is first, it's user reference. Okay, when you want to use anything, because operator ID, that means it will hold the operator related properties only. So you can use directly user reference option in that dropdown. Case references, when you want to refer data from the work class. Data in references, when you want to refer the data type properties or data type record, then you will select data type reference. Then we have the embedded data to access all data layers. If you see, whenever we create a data type, we have a concrete class and it will be added here, right? Then you can directly use the data reference. But for the abstract classes, you cannot use data reference because it doesn't have any instances. It doesn't have concrete class. So for them, we have to use the embedded data. So this is a kind of a difference that you have to remember all the time. You have to be very clear with this, that user reference to fetch the data from the operator ID, case reference from work class, data reference from data type, and embedded data from data layers. Now, let's come back. So customer field should access data from the abstract class. So I'll select data layer. That is embedded data. And what is the data type name? Care data customer. Single record and list of record. That means this customer detail can only hold detail of a single customer, right? If yes, then we can select single record. If this can hold multiple customer details in a single case, then we could go for list of records. The difference is, when I say single record, it is a page group property, like we did for, you can say, a single page for address. And list of record is a page list where we can create a with a unique index, right? For example, employee ID 1, employee ID 2, employee ID 3, like that. But we need a one single customer, so I'll select single record. Oh, single record. Now submit. Let's say I add one more for fraud watch list. So I'll give like fraud list. Now this I can go with the, this I can directly go with anyone. Embedded data, data reference, because data reference also I can access, or embedded data, I can access class. So data object, this time set fraud watch list. So how many records it will fetch? Single record. If you see, one data page is coming, but I'll not discuss this for now. This is for our tomorrow's topic. I'll simply submit here. Okay. So let's see. First detail and fraud watch list are added. Now let's go to our workflow. Let's go to personal details, view, personal detail. And I'll delete these things because now we are not creating anything at the case type level. We already created it, just we will reuse. Now I'll go to fields. I created cust details with plus icon. Now, if you see, cust detail is created in insurance, which is in a data relationship with a class care data customer, where we created a view that is a customer view. You remember, right? In this here, we created one view, customer view. So we are showing same view here. Now, I created one more, that is a fraud list. Fraud list is here. I click plus here. So fraud list is in data relationship with our fraud watch list data type. That is this one. Cust detail is linked with this one. Fraud list is linked with this one. Here also we create one fraud list. That's a fraud list view. Now I'll submit. I'll save it. And now let's create one case. Now you see customer ID, full name, phone number, email. All these things are coming from this care data customer inside the customer view, because we have only 4 things here. Same way, the fraud list is coming because this is the read only here. That's why we can't see it. Personal detail. This is read only. Tomorrow we will use this fraud list more in detail, that how to show the data, because fraud list is data, right? If you see here, we have 2 records.
Yeah.
So we can show these 2 records directly from this data type to our Pega case. So that this will be beneficial for the credit check, right? Because they are maintaining a list. Suppose I am the fraud again. Okay. So I am using the same list, use same data. So once I reach the credit check team can check, oh yes, this customer ID already exists in our fraud list. So we will reject this insurance. So like that. One more thing. Let me, okay, only 2 things I write. So now you understand, right? This is the client side validation directly coming on the screen.
Yeah.
Let's go to clipboard. If you remember that previously I used to show you the names and all those properties on the peer work page, right? We used to see first name, last name here itself, age, date of birth, everything. But now we are not using the case type properties. We are creating the data type. So we have to go down peer work page. You see this cust detail. Inside cust detail, if you click, you will find customer ID, email, full name. Because I haven't saved, so data is not coming. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's go to clipboard again. So now data is there. Customer ID is there. Email is there. Full name is there. And phone number is there. If you see, it is a better way to show the customer details, right? Unlike in the peer page, it is floating everywhere along with other properties, which make it very clumsy to use. But now you know that all the customer related details I will save inside cust details. If you need anything, you can directly jump onto this particular page and you have the data. Suppose tomorrow you want one more property here. You can add directly inside the same. Same way we have fraud list. Now fraud list will be empty for now because that is a read only. So that's why nothing is coming. Okay. Suppose you want to add record in the fraud type. This is read only, right? But you want to add. what we can do is then in the case type, in the data model, I'll create one more. This time will be fraud list editable. I'll name this. Last time I used data reference to show the data, but this time I'll use the embedded data because I want to edit the data. I'll select fraud watch list. So I will add a single record at a time. But if you want to add multiple list of records, this will also fine. Okay, let's say list of records. Okay, this time submit. So this is added. I'll go to views, personal detail, fields. I created with fraud list edit. I'll click on plus icon. Now this is there. You see, previously it was only data relationship, but now it was data relationship list because I selected multiple records I can add. Let's submit. Or I'll add this one. Read only wala I'll delete and submit here. Save. Let's create one case. You see how this list is coming now? I can add
Yeah.
any number. I can select the fraud type. I can add more item. I can add more IDs and I can select anything. If I save here, I'll show you how this will be shown in clipboard. Clipboard, UI workbench. So we have fraud list added. We deleted the previous list from the view, so that's why that is not coming. If you expand this one, now you see fraud list of 1, fraud list of 2. So this first row is fraud list of 1. This is fraud list of 2. If you click on this one, you see A1 fake profile. This one A3 invalid docs. So these are the primary properties which we have to see. So like this data type works. Okay. Any doubt, Francis?
No, none for now.
Okay, cool. If you see here, till now, we are adding the records, right? But suppose if we need to fetch the record, I'm just giving you a glimpse of our tomorrow session that we will cover the data pages. In the fraud watch list, I have 2 records, but I'm not using this right now here. I'm writing my own fraud watch list data. But suppose if I want to retrieve the data from this source, because for fraud watch list, Pega is a source of record. That means I can access this data at any point of time. So tomorrow we will see this part and how to retrieve this and show it into a case. And one more thing, this anyways you have seen in different applications. Let's say these are 3 drop downs, okay? It says country, this is state, and this one is city. So in every application you have seen, there is a drop down for country. And when you select country, the state will be filtered as per the country selection, right? And once you select state, the city data will be filtered. You're getting my point, right? For
Yeah.
example, if we have, let's say, US, Canada, India, okay, here. So first of all, you have to select one country here, then only you can select state. Till the time it will be empty. So suppose you have selected USA. So say USA, then only USA states will come into the other drop down. If you select Canada here, then Canada states will come in that field. If you select India, then Indian states will become into that field, right? Then you will select state. So once you select any state, corresponding cities will be available in the third city field. So there is a data relationship in all these three fields. These are linked, right? So this relationship we'll try to build tomorrow as part of the data page.
Okay.
So I'm just giving you a context of our tomorrow session so that tomorrow it will be easy, that you have a pre-mindset. Cool. That's all for our today's agenda.